Thank you all very, very much for what you're doing. I also want to mention one person in particular without whom none of this would ever be possible. Without the effort, the passion, the vision of Dr. Kathy Lloyd, none of this would have ever happened. Dr. Lloyd, would you please stand and everyone join me in a big round of applause for her vision and effort to make this happen. I had the pleasure of working with Dr. Lloyd on the Governor's Commission on Women. Of course, none of you will be surprised that Kathy's group finished their portion of the report weeks, maybe even months in advance, and they did much more than was ever asked of them. Now, I know it doesn't surprise anybody here, right? It is also no surprise that Kathy has been a big mentor to me. She may not realize it, but she has. Most of you know Kathy has succeeded managing enormous organizations, often taking on projects that many people were telling her that it was impossible. Don't take this task, but she did it anyway. Once I was asking her, how did you do that? How did you take on these tasks? And one of the things she said was that she was intentional about breaking down silos, building teams of people who were willing to lock arms and work together instead of competing against each other. And that was one of the big keys to her success. And I can tell you, and the people that are working with me will tell you that I've been taking that to heart and trying to do that as much as we possibly can. And that is something we're going to talk about a little bit more today. But on a lighter note, still with Kathy supporting me and then guiding me and being a mentor, she gave me some other sound advice. And I may get the exact percentages wrong here, but the intent is correct. So one time Kathy was talking to me and she said, now, you know, whenever you're talking to a man or you're interviewing a man, you have to know that they're probably exaggerating 25 to 30%. Now, Kathy, my wife seems to be nodding in agreement here. I'm probably not going to hear the end of this. And so she also said the flip side of that is that whenever you're talking to a woman, know that they're going to be downplaying themselves probably the same amount. And I've taken that, that's been true, that when women come in and talk about what they can do, they talk about, I think I can, I think I'm pretty sure I can do this, and they totally can do it. Whereas the man can come in and say, yeah, I've done this 15 times before, and maybe they haven't. Since the inception of the Women's Business Leadership Center, there have been so many lives and families that have been changed for the better. Just listen to these numbers. They're just staggering. 1,000 women and girls have helped through the Step Up, Reach Back program, campus community outreach efforts and conferences. Over 1,000. Over 1,000 hours of mentoring. Over 500 attendees annually during the Women's Leadership Conference. Over 400 freshmen involved during first-year experience outreach. Over 2,500 interns and ambassadors accepted into the leadership program. Over 80 Women's Leadership Conference scholarship presented to interns, with more to be announced today. Over 60 Reach Back programs. Over 50 Founder Circle Center champions and junior champions. Clearly, the number of students, families, and lives that have been absolutely changed through this program is deeply inspiring and something that we want to make a central part of the A-State brand, and we want to thank you for that. Please give yourselves a round of applause for all that you've done. I love to tell parents that if they have a daughter, they have no choice. They should send her to A-State. If they want to ensure that she's joining an institution that cares about her, will have a mentor in her chosen field of study, and will have opportunities to give back, which we consistently hear how much these programs build self-esteem and confidence. Dr. Lloyd once told me of a story of a young woman who was so surprised that she was chosen for a scholarship. She asked Dr. Lloyd, why me? Why did you choose me? Kathy told this young woman that there was just something very special about her. The award committee and she saw it in her. At this point, the young woman just simply began crying. And Kathy said, why? What's wrong? You just won a scholarship. And the young woman said, no one has ever told me that I was special before. And that's the type of impact and stories that we consistently hear through this program, and that's why so many of you are here today. What Dr. Lloyd and the Women's Business Leadership Center has accomplished is not only inspiring, but it's something so many people want to replicate and be part of this initiative. The Women's Business Leadership Center in the Neil Griffin College of Business will always continue to do what they have done so successfully. That will never change. But so many other groups across campus have heard of the success of this group, and they want to offer their students the same kind of opportunities. The Women's Business Leadership Center has done and will continue to do an amazing job. But we now have the opportunity to expand the mentoring and the service model to other areas: women in science, women in engineering, women in agriculture, women in pre-medical and other professional programs all want to emulate. We have the opportunity to collaborate, again, taking down these silos. We have the opportunity to collaborate with these other groups instead of operating in isolation or even planning events that happen on the same day and the time. Our hope, following Dr. Lloyd's example, is to build bridges across units, coordinate increasing the value of benefits of these efforts, many of which are already happening on campus that we didn't even know about. It is so true that imitation is the greatest form of flattery. So many other groups across the campus will start similar organizations in their respective areas and expand the program to young women across the campus and into the community. From an anonymous donor, we received a pledge of $1 million to continue the work of the Women's Business Leadership Program, help others across campus raise their own funding, and former Governor Asa Hutchinson was so impressed with what you all have done that he gave $250,000 to take the model to entrepreneurs across the Delta. I cannot tell you how excited I am to tell parents and their prospective students why they should send daughters to A-State. Because here, we are united across campus to ensure the success of young women. The Step Up and Reach Back model may take different forms across different disciplines. So for example, mentoring in education may look very different than mentoring in business or medical sciences, and same with the Reach Back programs. But women will have a student success support group like no other campus that I've ever heard of, seen, or even been to. It's very, very exciting. I am honored, I'm humbled to play even as a very small role in this exciting effort. Please join me again in another round of applause to Dr. Lloyd and all of the founding member circles, all the champions, the mentors, the mentees, and to everyone involved in the expansion of this vision. Thank you all very, very much. So it is now my sincere pleasure to introduce Dr. Jim Washam, Dean of the Neil Griffin College of Business. Thank you all very much. Neil, I think, you've got a new one? Don't bust it, Jim.
I'm going to try not to. They trusted me with carrying it up here, which is probably a mistake. All right, it works pretty well, I think. Thank you very much for joining us today. On behalf of the Neil Griffin College of Business, it's my pleasure to welcome you to the 7th almost annual Women's Leadership Conference. We took a break for a couple of years due to COVID, but we came back last year and it's been thrilling. Our room is packed, as is the parking lot from what I just heard. Okay. You guys have done a wonderful job being here this morning, and we're ready for a great day. The conference includes an exceptional keynote speaker and 10 breakout sessions, which all look wonderful. I'm going to try to sneak into at least one or two. I think they're full, but I'll just sneak in the back someplace and stand around. I know that choosing your breakout sessions today was probably a difficult choice. I was looking to see if any were repeated, but they're not, so you got to choose one each time. I thank you to our speakers for your commitment to this event and a willingness to share. Events like this and the amazing work of the Women's Business Leadership Center don't happen by chance. The accomplishments that Chancellor Shields mentioned are the result of a large team playing different roles to provide a brighter future for our students, Arkansas and beyond. The impact of the Women's Leadership Center starts with our mentors and students, but our students reach back to inspire those who are younger. They reach out to assist the community, and they become alumni who influence others around the globe. Will our current leadership interns, mentors, and alumni of the Women's Business Leadership Center please stand to be recognized? I see most of our interns are already standing in the back because they checked you in. The work of the Women's Leadership Center relies on the support of not only our Founders Circle, but also our Center champions, junior champions, as Chancellor Shields mentioned. This conference is made possible by our sponsors. We have lots of sponsors. All of our sponsors and supporters are listed in your program, but I'd like to take a moment to send a special thank you out to our champion level sponsors for today's event. We have Encore Consulting Group, Frito-Lay, Hytrol, St. Bernard's Healthcare, and S&H Systems. I would like to thank you all for your special level of sponsorship today and making this happen. We also have some high school students with us today. We always invite high school students to the event. Our high school students are all kind of over there, I think. That's where they're usually at anyway. There's a section. I'd like to welcome our high school students from Bay High School, Cedar Ridge, Earl, Marion, Nettleton High School, and the academies at Jonesboro High. Get a little special shout out because that's my alma mater. Okay, but they're all here with us today. And we hope you guys will join us at A-State in the near future. And along with our high school students, we also have some students that came from UT Arlington today. They came with Dr. Corsier. Where they at? Wave. There, yeah. And a few from our Mountain Home campus as well. So I know we have a couple from Mountain Home who joined us as well. Have a few more people to thank, and I'll get out of the way. We can all enjoy the day due to the work of the conference committee, the WBLC ambassadors, and other conference volunteers who will keep everything running smoothly throughout the day. And we're very thankful for the support of Chancellor Shields and University Advancement. Chancellor Shields mentioned the launch of the new A-State Women's Leadership Collaborative. This is truly an exciting initiative that will expand opportunities for our students. As he mentioned, the Women's Business Leadership Center will be in its regular place, providing mentoring and community service opportunities for our leadership interns. The new collaborative will connect students with development opportunities across campus. The Women's Business Leadership Center will continue to welcome non-business majors as leadership interns, and our business majors may choose to participate in activities sponsored by Women in Science or Women in Agriculture, for example. And of course, students who are participating in those groups are welcome to come join our programs as well. The collaborative will serve as a hub that connects the various groups, facilitates internal sharing of ideas, organizes key events during the year, and provides additional outreach to the community. Our goal is to build on past success with the student-centric programs, promoting creative collaboration, and providing personal connections for our students. Of course, none of this happens without Madeline Carson and Patricia Johnson. Where are you guys at? Patricia's over there someplace. There's a good chance Madeline is still frantically running around out by the registration tables. But nothing happens without those two. Madeline and Patricia are the heart and soul of the Women's Business Leadership Center. Their dedication to and passion for the work for the WBLC is remarkable, and they're changing lives every day. It's been a privilege to work with them. And with that, Tiana, are you up next? Okay, I'll let Tiana introduce our keynote. Thank you very much.
Hi everyone, my name is Tiana Matthews. I'm a senior psychology major and a 3-year women's leadership intern. And I'm so excited to introduce Dr. Debbie G. Nair, who is the Director of Cardiac Electrophysiology and Research at the St. Bernard's Health, Heart, and Vascular Center. She is also the Director of Arrhythmia Research Group and Assistant Professor for the University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences. Dr. Nair completed her medical training at the University of Kerala, India, followed by the internal medicine residency at Columbia University College of Physicians and Surgeons at St. Luke's Roosevelt campus in New York. She also completed her cardiology and cardiac electrophysiology fellowships at Case Western Reserve University at Metro Health campus. Dr. Nair has also won the People's Choice Award for the best cardiologist in Jonesboro for the last 5 years in a row. Dr. Nair has served as the chair and vice chair for the Heart Rhythm Society Membership Subcommittee since 2017. She serves as the physician chair for the annual St. Bernard's Health Expo that brings health screening, community education, and pre-participation physicals for athletes, providing these services free of cost to thousands of people residing in Northeast Arkansas. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Nair.
Well, good morning, everyone. I want to take a moment and say thank you. I'm extremely humbled to be here among all these women leaders and all these great women. This is my first time being here, so truly humbled, and thank you for the invitation. For someone that likes to go to conferences and speak at conferences on a routine basis, I'd probably say I go to 3 to 4 meetings a month. This one was different. I mean, I like to talk about cardiac surgery every time I go. This one I had to think about. I probably gracefully lost a pound or 2 thinking about what I would speak today. So, I started thinking about what I would say and, about my life, about my journey, and the things, it's like everybody else's life. I mean, I've had boring, I guess a boring life in a way. I've had my trials and tribulations, but in the end, what matters is what came out of it, how I prevailed, how I stayed in one piece, and what was the outcome. It was not about what I did not get or what opportunity did not come to me or what I could not succeed in. But it was all about what I made of an opportunity and how I took that opportunity that came to me and turned it towards me. So with that, I'm going to kind of share, I want to just, let me see. Is that just a click? Okay, there you go. Nope. I see it right there. Let me see if I can, there you go, that's working. All right, there you go. So I want to just say I do have quite a bit of conflicts and disclosures. I sit on the advisory board, I'm a consultant, and I have multiple research grants with a lot of industry partners. These are all very large industries, medical device industries that does innovation, artificial intelligence, makes technologies for cardiac surgery, cardiac ablations. But beyond all of that, today, some of the relevant disclosures, I will say I'm a wife. I'm a mom of 2 beautiful boys and a puppy. Don't ask me why, but we do have a very adorable puppy. This talk is going to have tons of personal pictures, a lot of pictures from this community, and a lot of personal stories. So some of you might be in these pictures, so I'll keep it that way. So I just want you to look at this. This was actually a conference that I went to recently, within the last few months. It was in Amsterdam, and I'm standing in the panel, taking a picture of the panel of the faculty, and someone asked me, how do you feel being the only woman on the panel? And I just did not realize it. And that is the truth, is I did not realize that can happen. Thank you. Sorry. All right, well, is this better? Can you hear me? All right, sorry. All right, so at that point, I'll say, it starts off with, I had very humble early beginnings. I grew up in South India, and so if you start looking at the world, it is in the southernmost tip of India. It's in a city called Kerala, Cochin, in a middle-class family with 2 incredible parents. I was the oldest of the kids. And of course, my brother came along about 2.5 years later. Never felt a difference. My parents were not physicians. They worked for the State Department. One was in finance and one was in operations. But they were incredible parents who never, I don't think I knew what gender disparity meant. Because as we came along, this was my siblings. My brother is 2.5 years younger than me, and we tell my sister is my oops child, is what we tell her. But anyway, we got to give her grief. But I never knew that there was a issue such as gender disparity until I went to medical school. And you would wonder why in medical school you're probably thinking of more educated individuals, but that is the first time I felt the inequality and the disparity. Part of it is also where the state that I grew up was known for its high literacy rates, and women were they're encouraged to go to school, and so it was different. So it's not the India that most people think of. I came from a part of India that was a pretty forward state. And this is my brother and sister now. My brother is a cardiac electrophysiologist, just like me, practices in India. And my sister, we didn't give her a choice. She's an internist. She practices in Dubai. It was just peer pressure at that point. So, my parents, my dad especially, used to tell me that there's the only impossible journey that is the one that you never begin. And when you think about that, it was all about the mindset, right? It was all about him believing in who I was and me believing in myself, about the challenges that I could face. Those challenges was possible, being optimistic about and cherishing my successes, being positive. And that changes that impossible to I am possible, because impossible is not even a word. This is my first role model. My mom, who always made sure that we never saw the difference between a girl and boy, who always told me that I need to do what I need to do, what I'm passionate about, what makes me happy. My mom was my first female role model, and my brother was my first male role model. I don't think he even realized that his older sister could not do anything that he didn't do. I mean, and to this date, he has a daughter, which, she is just precious, and she is just, I think she's blessed to be his daughter, and his wife, she's amazingly talented pathologist as well, and I think they would speak to it as well, that he just does not know the difference or does not even understand why we talk about diversity and non-equality, because that doesn't even come to him, because he grew up in that household. Now, this is my better half. Some of you know him. He's the CEO for a company that is local called Ace One Technologies. My mom told me only to marry when it was time, when I found somebody that respected me and for my struggles and for my education, and who would join hands with me in me achieving my ambitions, simultaneously somebody I could look up to, somebody I could learn from. And that did come, thankfully. He was the son of one of my dad's good friends. Never thought I would marry him, but he was the guy, and we've been married for over 25 years now. And that brought me to the United States. I actually was never planning to come to the United States. I was pursuing a career in cardiac surgery in India. And then I came to this town called Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I don't know how many of you know Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Lancaster is known for its Amish community, but mainly it has an animal lab facility from University of Pennsylvania where we do animal research, and I was doing stem cell research in cardiac surgery patients. So that's what brought me to the United States. And then life had other plans for me. About 2 months after I came to the US, that was after I got married, my dad had sudden cardiac arrest. And I don't know how many of you understand the difference between sudden cardiac arrest and heart attack. And I want to take that a moment to just make that explanation. Heart attack is when you have blocked arteries and the doctors go in and fix those blockages. Cardiac arrest is when your heart goes out of rhythm and you have to get shocked out of it. So it's an electrical problem of the heart. And my dad had cardiac arrest at home, and my mom could not get him to the hospital on time, and he passed away at a very young age. And to me, that put a stop on what I was doing with cardiac surgery, and got me into the field of cardiac electrophysiology. So cardiac electrophysiology is a specialty in cardiology. It's a subspecialty in cardiology that focuses on the rhythms of the heart. It looks at the electrical part of the heart and fixes electrical problems of the heart. So that is what got me into the field of cardiac electrophysiology. And in cardiac electrophysiology, my son tells me that I'm from the 1900s, and it's a really hard thing to kind of say it that way, but I am from the 1900s. And at that time, cardiac electrophysiology was a very young specialty. They were probably about 20, 25 cardiac electrophysiologists around the globe. And the field was just evolving. Like we were just understanding the mechanisms. We were just understanding how to treat things. We were just collaborating with our partners, the cardiac surgeons and the other cardiologists, to figure out how to treat these problems. And so for me, at that young age to get into a field that was so innovative and so new. And I didn't know where it was going to go, but it answered. It was my way of finding answers to what happened to my dad. And let me tell you, I was the oldest daughter and was the first daughter, so I was his favorite. Doesn't matter. So, whatever happens, my brother is my mom's favorite, and I was my dad's favorite. So, period. But having said that, so that is what got me into the field of cardiac electrophysiology. And to this day, I know that every time I'm able to save somebody's life from having a cardiac arrest, whether it is a kid, whether it's a dad, whether it's a brother, whether it's a husband, I know my dad is smiling on me. So it gives me immense joy to be able to practice cardiac electrophysiology at St. Bernard's. So my career in cardiac electrophysiology took me to Columbia University in New York, which is where I started my training in internal medicine. To get to cardiac electrophysiology, you are to finish 3 years of research, then 3 years of internal medicine, then you have to go into cardiology fellowship, understand the basics of cardiology, which is 3 years, and then do 2 years of cardiac electrophysiology, and then do additional complex training if you wanted to do additional training. So remember, this is after medical school. So I'm in that stage of my age and life where I'm looking at another 16 years of training at the age of 25 or so. I'm giving my age out, but that's okay. So I remember looking at colleges in the US and applying for scholarships and such to get into the program because, the one thing about residency is you do get paid. You do make about 20 to 30 grand a year, so you can survive, even in New York City. So it was, at least I didn't have to pay to get trained, so I'll give that. But Columbia was my stepstone into the field of cardiac electrophysiology. But what I realized is Columbia University was known for its cardiac surgeons, but not its cardiac electrophysiologists. So at that point, I started looking for my next life. But then this came along, and this one changed my life. And at that point, I realized what my mom told me is the hand that rocks the cradle is what's going to rock the world. And so he changed my life, and I have to say, I had to put a stop a little bit, but he did not put a pause on my life. I just stopped, and I had to just kind of think about how we do it. My husband was working in New York. I was in New York, but cardiac electrophysiology in New York was not the strongest, I would say, it did not have the strongest potential. So I found my next strongest potential, which was in Cleveland. So I came to Case Western Reserve University and the Cleveland Clinic, and that is where I completed my cardiology and cardiac electrophysiology fellowships thereafter. One of the things when I came to Cleveland was I saw more women in that specialty at the Cleveland Clinic and at Case than I saw in New York. And so it was the first time that I started realizing that there were women role models in medicine that could potentially, kind of guide me in the direction. Even in the smallest field of electrophysiology, there was so much to do. And you can get lost in that world. And I had great mentors that I still keep up with. And so remember the importance of mentorship as I tell you these stories. I hope you take away not just my story, but the points that I'm trying to get through these stories. So my mentors from Cleveland and from New York still know me, they still call me, I still see them at meetings, and we're still great friends. So stay in touch with your mentors, be a mentor, be a mentee. And then in Cleveland, this came along. Now this is my second child. So if people know cardiac electrophysiology, when we have to do electrical procedures in the heart, we have to use fluoroscopy or radiation to see within the heart, and that's how we look at the heart. We have a great set of rad tech students from Arkansas State that are in our lab right now. So I'm thankful for Arkansas State for training them so well. But this radiation can obviously, I know many of you know, radiation can affect your fetal life in your child and when you're pregnant. So these are things that I had to worry about as an electrophysiologist in training. Do I put my career on hold? Do I put my family on hold? And the one thing I tell every women cardiologists and women electrophysiologists is that as a woman, your fertility time is limited. So have your kids, don't put that on break because your career will come. It's not going to go anywhere. You can do this together. So, I call him my radiation baby because I was in fellowship. I had no choice. I had to use all the radiation what my faculty would use or my mentors would use. I had no choice. But, I tried to protect him as much as possible, and he turned out okay. I do my chief EP over there. His name is Andrea Natali. Every year he gets a picture of Vignesh, and I tell him, here's what's happened with him. Here's the radiation baby. So he knows him. So I am blessed in that way. So I have 2 boys, and at that point, when I was finishing my fellowship, and it was time for me to find my first job. And a lot of people ask me what got me to Jonesboro, what brought me to Arkansas. Truth be told, I did not know Arkansas existed because I lived in a small hole. I lived in my hole of New York and Pennsylvania and Cleveland and the northeast coast, not even the east coast, the northeast coast. Because I was just so focused in what I was doing, traveling and stuff was not something I cared about at that time. And then it was an opportunity I'd heard about from now a longtime friend and a colleague, Dr. Gillum, who was a practicing electrophysiologist here at St. Bernard's at that time. And I met Dr. Gillum at one of the conferences in 2009. And he kind of talked to me. If any of you have ever met Dr. Gillum, you'll know he's a great, friendly, cheerful, just a phenomenal guy. He walked up to me and said, hey, we are looking to have a physician come and join us and start what's called an ablation program. And we're looking at what we can do next in electrophysiology in Jonesboro, Arkansas. So I pulled up the map and I looked and I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll look into it. And in my mind, I was planning to go back to New York City. And then, again, this is where life takes changes. I told you, opportunities knock, and it's important to realize that when you hear a knock, that you need to open the door. If you don't open the door, you will never know what was behind it. So that came from my husband. And this is where I will say, choose, it's important that you surround yourself. You can surround yourself with any company, but it's important to make the best use of your company. I'll tell that. Don't repeat that to my husband. So this is where I met this incredible woman, and she's here today. Her name is Connie Hill. Many of you know her. She's the vice president for heart care at St. Bernard's. And I come down here in 2010, and I meet her, and I'm intrigued by this woman leader who has this vision for this program. And I see administration, I see a hospital that has a vision, and they want somebody to help take them to that vision and take them to that level. And this incredible couple, both Connie and Dr. Roger Hill, both of them had created this big institution in this place that was led by cardiologists who believed in innovation, who believed in bringing on the next generation of technology, making sure that this community is not left behind. And to me, that was incredible. And that brought me to Jonesboro, Arkansas in 2011 to join this incredible group of physicians at that time. Now, this is not the same set of physicians we have now, but this was the first group that I joined. And you can see Dr. Savu was the other cardiologist in the group, who was on a sabbatical at that time, and I was the only woman. And I had a lot of mentors from New York and from Cleveland that asked me, why are you going to Arkansas? You're going to look different. You're going to be treated different. You're the only woman. You're starting something brand new. You're coming out of training. How are you going to make it happen? And it comes with teamwork. It comes with having the right partners. It comes with having the vision. It comes with having the heart to work hard, to persevere in what you want to achieve, and to have a plan, and to take one step at a time to execute that plan. And that brought us to developing our first cardiac electrophysiology department with ablation technology in 2011, where you can see Connie and me demonstrating our first generation of equipment to, I think it was the Chamber of Commerce or I can't remember what it was. They were coming through to see the new stuff that we were making. And it was a small lab. You can see this is, I think this is Joe Cook. I think Blair is in, I saw Blair here. So Joe had come as well as part of the chamber looking at what is happening at St. Bernard's. And we were showing off this new lab, new electrophysiology lab that we had designed to bring cardiac ablation to Jonesboro, Arkansas. Cardiac ablation is a type of surgery where we put little electrical wires up into the heart and find the abnormal electrical firings that cause abnormal rhythms, and we cauterize or freeze and fix the electrical problems of the heart. So it was a very innovative technology. It was my passion. That's what I had trained on mostly, and so that's why I came here for. And so within 2 months of me coming here, the first ablation was performed, and then we moved on to doing more complex ablations in 2012, which is for a rhythm called atrial fibrillation. And so since 2012 is the first time that atrial fibrillation ablation was performed in Jonesboro. Until that point, there were patients would go to Memphis or Little Rock to get that cardiac ablation. And I will give credit to the hospital, the administration, to Connie, to my partners who stood with me in making sure that I was able to bring this innovation safely to this part of the state. Now, a couple of years later, we you know, you got to dream big, right? So kept innovating. We went on to having what's called a hybrid electrophysiology lab as part of the new towers and the innovation with St. Bernard's. So this was a much bigger lab. You can see we got more square footage too. So compared to the other lab. And this was the Chamber of Commerce actually coming to help inaugurate our hybrid lab. And we do very, very complex procedures here. And the beauty of a hybrid lab is that you can do minimally invasive procedures through IVs in the leg, but if there is a need, you can open the chest on that same table. So you can collaborate with your cardiac surgeons in giving the best kind of care that you need to. But then comes persistence, right? You have to be persistent. So you can't, and this is a prime example of persistence in my house. This is my younger one many years ago. Like, he would not give up. And I know where he gets that from. Part is me and part is my husband. You can, just because you have seen one part, you have to continue to dream. Otherwise, you will become stagnant. You can't be stagnant, and you have to continue to persevere. And we have now evolved into, remember I told you that when I did the first ablation, we were just making sure patients didn't have to go to Memphis or Little Rock. We are at this point where we are actually bringing patients from all over the country to Jonesboro to have cardiac ablation. We have patients coming from San Francisco, we have patients coming from Chicago, we have patients coming from Florida, we have patients coming from Carolinas to have their ablation procedure done here now. We do proctoring for physicians. We have physicians traveling over that coming to train from us. We have remote physician training options, so you can see that's me and my scrub, Justin Cook. Justin was a graduate of Arkansas State, doing a remote education for physicians, and we're just transmitting live as we're doing procedures. But then it doesn't come without hard work, and any work is hard. Doesn't matter. I put my kids to work, and if they want their playhouse, they're gonna make their playhouse. They wanted it red, they're gonna get it red, but they're gonna get it by working hard themselves. And that is kind of what I do at work too. I work hard, and I encourage the people around me to work hard, and I set the threshold very high, and I make sure that they stay at that threshold along with me. And it's very hard when you are working hard that your colleagues and your partners around you, surrounding you, cannot work hard. They try to aspire and they try to be with you. And when I see someone is working harder, then I try working harder. So it's almost, you make the team and you build the team. And that led us to becoming a global provider for electrophysiology services. We are now sought out center for live case transmissions during major global conferences. This was a recent conference that we were providing live case support, where we were doing live cases for over 3,000 physicians to watch. And that's an incredible opportunity for Jonesboro, Arkansas. But then comes, you got to think outside the box sometimes, because again, you can't be stagnant. And here's the remember, radiation does bad things to you. And this is what happens when you get affected by radiation. So he always makes me take a moment and think about what I'm doing and what I need to do. And for me, one of the things that bothered me a lot, that it was the amount of women that come to electrophysiology was very minimal. I'm one of the 25 physicians in the US that are women electrophysiologists. And there are quite a bit of male electrophysiologists. And one of the barriers is the using of fluoroscopy, because women don't want to be around radiation because of having babies. And so one of the things that I was passionate about was research in that field. And that got me to creating this research foundation, research group called Arrhythmia Research Group. And Kayla, who's the director of operations, is right here with me. And it is an immense network of research professionals, research coordinators, and I think many of them are Arkansas State graduates as well. And the Research Foundation, the objectives for us was to collaborate with the hospital in providing world-class research to Northeast Arkansas. And bringing that research to Northeast Arkansas means bringing innovation, bringing new technology, which means our community could benefit from all the newest technologies that came to this part of or came to the US. And we have multiple clinical trials that we do, and we are global lead enrollers for many clinical trials. I give all my patients opportunities to be part of clinical trials. If that is the right thing for them, if that is the right care for them, I always give them the opportunity. And the one thing that always comes up with clinical research and the FDA is gender disparity because when we look at clinical trials, women are represented the small amount of women are represented in these clinical trials. So there's always that question about we need to have more women, we need to have more people of color in our research trials. And that has never been, gender disparity has never been an issue in our research group because I don't see them different. And I think that comes as being a woman physician because to me, it's different it's different how you approach a woman, it's different how you approach a man when you come to treating. The treatment as much might be the same, but it's about how you present it, how you explain it, what it means to them as a mother, as a wife, as a sister, as a daughter, and it's very different. So understanding that physique is important. And that has gotten us to being a very, very actively involved clinical site for research and doing clinical research in multiple fields. And now that's not possible and with just me. It's only possible with teamwork. And I do have an incredible team at the hospital, at my clinic, at the research group that help me make sure that I can deliver this care appropriately. And I always tell them there's no I in a team. It is a team. Is a team. And there's no way you can do what I can do what I want to do without the help of all these individuals that are in the lab. This led us, our research endeavors led us to being, global leaders, but this was like breaking the ceiling for us, where we were actually sought out as the first hospital to perform a procedure in the world. And so that was in 2018. And I mean, that was truly breaking the ceiling. It was not, being asked to be part of research or being allowed to do a certain clinical procedure, but being first in the world to be able to do a procedure was immensely a blessing. But then, as I said, when you get, you have to give. And that comes, that is where I truly believe that I joined hands with the right hospital that cares about community education and giving back to the community. For years, we were part of the Health and Fitness Expo that was part of the St. Bernard's Medical Group, and I chaired that expo for many years as well. And this was my first entry to the expo where we provided community screening, and it brought the other side of me. I got the chance to give back, and I am thankful for the hospital and to the medical group for being able to give me that opportunity so I could give back so easily. We also are very proud that we are one of the few sites that actually do pre-participation physicals for our student athletes, and we keep our kids safe who play sports. And we've been doing this for many years, and we will be seeing you, if you have kids, you have grandkids, you have brothers, you have sisters, please make sure they come on April 23rd and get their physicals at the St. Bernard's Auditorium. We'll be doing that again this year. We have saved over 14 lives in this community, young kids that could potentially have died on the field by doing these physicals. So I'm immensely proud of the group that does this with me. I always say, surround yourself with the right people, but look up to the right people. Because you have to understand who your right mentors are, who the right people to look up to, who your right team is. And that's a skill set that you acquire over time. There are friends and there are colleagues, there are mentors. Sometimes these boundaries all overlap, but you have to understand that that is important. And so for me, I had great mentors. So it was important for me to be a mentee, and I take that to my school. Now, I have fun going to my kids' schools, obviously, because I get to hang out with them too. But beyond that, I do work with Arkansas State, with NYIT, with the high schools, and I try to give back. I try to be mentors for many young women and men who want to go into the medical career, who want to pursue medical career, and this is my way of giving back. And again, possible only because of great foundations in this community that have been able to put this together. The other thing I would say is conquering fears. I never thought I could run, and I still don't think I can run. And so my kids always used to tell me that I can. And obviously, and I will say I probably should be more healthy, but pregnancy got me into a lot of weight, and I decided I need to lose some weight. And my kids are like, you need to run. And I'm like, I can't run. And so this was my first run, and this was part of the Health and Fitness Expo. It was a kids' run. Fine, it was only 1 mile, but I don't care. It was still, I had the biggest smile ever. And the key is, though, is that guy that's running with the little one, who was our support, who ran with us, made sure that we finished that 1 mile. And I mean, these pictures are elegant, but let me tell you, it was not fun after that. But having said that, it does come down to conquering fears, right? And one of the things is, for me, as I was coming up, as I was doing more things, was going up on the podium and speaking about what I was proud of doing, what I was, what I was developing here, all the technologies that I was using, what I was interested in, my passion, and so. That was a fear that I had to conquer because I had to be able to speak about what I was doing here, or else it was not going to get taught. And so now, over time, I have semi-conquered that in a way. I do go and speak at a lot of medical conferences. I try to give back, but I do surround myself with the right people that help me make sure that I do the right thing, but also deliver it in a way. But then comes work-life balance, and that is a different thing. And I think that is a balance that is individual to everyone. You figure it out yourself, but you need to have it. You need to make sure that you have time for your family, you have time for your friends. Now, this one was getting a facial from, I think, the icing on the cupcake, and I just let him have him. I was happy on my chair just watching it. I refused to clean him up. I also teach my kids to cook, both of them. One is a 16-year-old and one is a 12-year-old, soon to be 12. And they both can make a breakfast. They can even pack a lunch for me if I want to. But this is early. This is how he used to. But it is important to I think, the way I say is empower your family, empower your kids to, if you have kids, if you have siblings, to empower them to participate in your work-life balance. And I'm also that mom that if my child slept, I would just pull over and sit there and get my 20 minutes of quiet time, and I was okay with that. And again, I was not perfect. I have had my disappointments, but that's okay. But I learned to choose. And this is the Fruit Loops with marshmallows, and he always picks out all the marshmallows. And he always chose, but he chose the right things, and he always surrounded himself with the right things, and I choose the same. I choose to surround myself with the right people. I support the people that are around me. This is my husband opening up his center here. This is it was the Chamber of Commerce opening up the ACE1 Technologies. This is all the clinic staff and the research staff. Some of them still work with me. Some of them have moved on to other specialties. But all of the people that I've surrounded myself, some of them are great women colleagues, great women leaders. And it is for me, it is important that I empower these women to help them achieve what they want to achieve. Important to take those vacations. Take that break. You do need to slow down and take those vacations. Maintain some hobbies. For me, it's plans. I make the kids do some work too, but that's different. Stay in touch with your friends, whether it's your mentees or whether it's just friends. Go hang out with them. All four of us went to kindergarten together, and we live in 4 parts of the world, and we come together once in 5 years. So we make sure that happens. But in summary, what I would like to say is make sure you define your story or your dharma. Make sure you decide what you want to accomplish and why you want to accomplish it. Don't worry about what the world needs, because you want to ask yourself, what makes you happy? What makes you come alive? Because what the world needs is a lot of people that can come alive. So when you learn, make sure you teach. When you get, make sure you give, because that is what is going to define your story. Try to build a resume about what you want to be and what will come out of that. And when you stumble, that story is what's going to help you get up. And it doesn't matter how far you might rise. There will come a time where you will stumble and you will fall. Because when we constantly try to push ourselves and we try to raise that bar, the law of average predicts that you are going to fail at some point. But in that hole, when you hit that failure, just remember that's just another direction that life is taking you. Learn from every mistake. Figure out what that right next move is. You have to learn to figure out what that internal, moral, emotional GPS is for you that is going to take you in that right direction. And if anybody that knows me, I'm not the best driver. I still use GPS to come to work. And it's only been 12 years since I've been in Jonesboro. So very, very important to focus on your values. So know who you are and focus on who you are. And try to control those fears that come from your prefrontal cortex. So, there are stereotypes. Like when I went to med school first, there was a stereotype of what a cardiac surgeon is. It was a male, big male, and you have this built in your mind, and you have to take it away. I will tell you a riddle. Long time ago, a couple years ago, one of my friends said a riddle to me, and I came home, and I tend to repeat the riddles at home to my kids. And so I told my boys, it's a sad one, so don't get sad. And I told my boys the same. A dad and a son got into a wreck, and it was a pretty bad wreck, and the dad died. And the son was very critically injured, and he was taken to the hospital. And the doctor came in and was getting ready to perform the surgery and walked out and said, I can't perform the surgery. And I asked my kids, what do you think the doctor said that they couldn't perform the surgery? And my oldest said, I bet that was his mom. And that was true. And for me, my son picked it up. But I get that the 10 people that were surrounding me that day when that riddle was said at the hospital did not pick it up. So that speaks a lot. It's about what you show at home. Be brave. Take small actions. Dismantle those external barriers about gender disparity. Understand what diversity, inclusion, equality, and equity means. And encourage women, hire women, give raises to women. Put them in leadership positions. And even better, allow yourself to be led by a woman leader. And because when you are grateful for what you have, you will know that the universe is abundant, and that you will learn to be truest at the highest expression of what you want yourself to be. I always say I cannot stop without saying that I do believe, for me, I believe that there's a power greater than myself that rules my life. I call him God. Many people you can call it the force, the nature, whatever you call it. There is a power that will take you to the right place. And for me, my goal is to fulfill my most truest expression of myself, as a human being and to lift myself, my family, and the people around me. This was a t-shirt that I got at the expo, and it's probably the best one of the free t-shirts that I've gotten, is be strong, be brave, and be humble when you're victorious. And you cannot be what you cannot see, because seeing the unseen. With that, I'll stop. Thank you.
Wow, that was amazing. I really enjoyed that a lot. Thank you, Dr. Nair. We have a few announcements, but first, I want all of our current and former leadership interns to come up to the front. A lot of them are standing in the back to make sure everybody else gets a seat, which I really appreciate. And if you're a former leadership intern, come on up here too. Wow. So this is why we do what we do here. We have alums who have come back. We started the Women's Leadership Center back in 2016 after we had the first conference in 2015. And these women work all year on various things. If you are interested in getting involved with us or with some of our new things, we have a Women's Leadership Collaborative on campus now as well. Take a look at the program and you'll see some information about that, and I hope that you will get involved with us in whatever way you want to do it. We need mentors, we need people at mock interviews, we need people to help us with conferences like this, we need sponsorships, we need scholarships, we need all of that. This is just a small number. We have hundreds of students who have done this. They step up by becoming great professionals and being mentored by professional women throughout the community. And then they also reach back by doing service projects throughout the community. So let's give these ladies a hand. All right. So this is why I love to do what I do, is these women. So next off, I want to briefly, we've already announced the scholarships to these students last night, but I do want you to take a look at all of the names here. First of all, we had money that we raised back in 2016 when we started the center with Founder Circle, and now we have Center Champions and Junior Champions. And they have funded 13 scholarships here. And so that's a list of the students who received those. And we're very proud of them. And then the next slide, we also have all of these: the Dr. Kathy White Lloyd Scholarship, the Sharon Davis Family Scholarship for Leadership Excellence, the Sandy Allstat Leadership Scholarship, Dr. Patricia Johnston Endowed Scholarship, Leonard and Mary Lou McDaniel College of Business Scholarship, and the Ed Way Business Scholarship. We have the Dr. Jim Washam Scholarship, the Imogene McDaniel Scholarship, the WLC Roller Funeral Home Annual Scholarship, Nancy Everett Entrepreneur Scholarship, Shane and Jennifer Hunt Women's Business Leadership Scholarship, and 2 ASU Mountain Home Scholarships as well, because we do have a program at ASU Mountain Home as well. So if you are a student here and you have received any scholarships this year, just raise your hand. All right, fantastic, congrats. All right, so we're very proud of you guys. I'd love to get a picture of all of you right after this session. If you'll go down to that wall, we'll do a quick picture. Are we good? What's that? Oh, yeah, okay. All right, they also mentioned that if you need a parking hang tag to go to the front desk, they have them there. I know parking's always tough here. They knew I'd forget that. And so do remember that. But you guys will go down there, and we will take a picture. Y'all can wander down there now. Okay, so next on the agenda, I wanted to make a couple of announcements about different interns and mentors. And about different remarkable women. We're going to do a different event called Recognizing Remarkable Women on November the 2nd, and we need your nominations. So if you look inside the very first part of the program, you'll see how you can do that. And so if you know some remarkable women in your community, the very first part of the program, the letter from Dr. Kathy White-Lloyd and me, the welcome letter, toward the end of that will tell you how you can go online and nominate remarkable women. So I hope you will do that. So if you're a student here, don't forget to sign in to each session. So we have 3 sessions today. Sign in each time. There are QR codes in each room for you to do that. If you are anyone here, we also would love to have your evaluation of the conference. So if you have feedback to give us, there are also QR codes so that you can give us feedback on each session. And so you'll see things on the back door usually that will tell you, and you'll be able to just shoot a picture with your phone, hold your phone up to it, and it'll take you to a website. So I hope you will do that. Also, I wanted to mention a very important issue, which is where is lunch? Which we will have lunch after the 11 o'clock session. So immediately after your 11 o'clock session, about 12, you will be hunting for lunch. And we got 4 places. And so if you look at your ticket, if you are going for the 12:30 session to Three Rivers, any of the river rooms, White River, Black River, Arkansas River, there'll be food right outside the door. And so if you're going there at 12:30, that'll be easy to find the food. It'll be right outside the door. If you're going to Mockingbird Room for your 12:30 session, that will be, a lot of food will be in Pine Tree. If you're coming here for your 12:30 session, there'll be food in here, and there'll also be an overflow room in the Cache River. So you've got a little map on your ticket. So I'm sure you'll be able to find it, but we have 4 food stations. So if the line gets super long somewhere, which it might, you can certainly find another line because we've got 4. And you can always ask one of us with one of our leadership interns or me, and we'll help you find your food. All right. So let's see. Now we've got door prizes. Does everybody have a door prize ticket? Here you go, Dr. Leslie.
Good morning. It has been a wonderful day. Dr. Neer did an awesome job. Give her another round of applause. No ticket, no prize. So this is the last call for persons who did not get a ticket to get one now, or forever hold your sadness. Okay, we have several door prizes throughout the day for the different sessions, so there's more where these came from. So just know the other sessions throughout the day, make sure you're there. And there are new tickets for each, so don't recycle the ones you have, except in the bin. All right, let's start out. And if you're not here, it goes to somebody else. Ticket number 2374276. Going once, going twice, gone. Ticket number, no numbers on the ticket. Okay, ticket Ticket number 2374382. Going once. Woohoo! Come on. And this person gets a gift card courtesy of the Neil Griffin College of Business graduate program. Wonderful program for persons who want to go to graduate school. Here you go. Congrats. Ticket number 593020. Woohoo! Excellent. And this one is another gift card from our Center for Supply Chain Management at the Griffin College of Business. Woohoo! $50. Woohoo! Yeah, this is for last. Oh, wow. A red one. Let's see who gets this. 803002. That's 803002. Woohoo! And this is another gift card courtesy of the Department of Management and Marketing and Supply Chain at the Neil Griffin College of Business. Congratulations. And for this wonderful gift basket from Dillard's, this one goes to ticket number 5935227. So ticket number 593527. Woohoo! Thank you so much to the many sponsors. Again, we have several more door prizes. Please attend all the sessions. It's going to be a wonderful day. Dr. Neer started off really, really well. Have a great day.